Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Rated R25 here. Today we're going to recap Monday Night Raw from February 17th, 2020. It's a long episode, as are all episodes of Raw. 3 hours is just a lot of wrestling for one sitting. So we're going to get right into this video to knock this out as fast as we can because it was a long night of wrestling. But first, before I get in the video, I want to remind you guys to drop a like on this video, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. Follow me on Twitter to keep up with everything I'm doing, live streams and all that stuff. I'll put the Twitter link in the description below. And without further ado, let's get into this video recapping Monday Night Raw. Okay, guys, so Monday Night Raw kicked off with Randy Orton coming out to the ring, as he's done the past few weeks since he hurt Edge. And he started talking about the match he was supposed to have that was advertised with Matt Hardy, which would be a no-holds-barred match, but it seems like it wasn't going to happen, according to Randy Orton. He's saying that Matt Hardy is not yet to be cleared by the doctors in the back. So then Matt Hardy's music hits. He comes out with a full neck brace on and comes down and tells Randy, just explain why you did what you did to Edge. And he basically goes into a whole thing about how Matt Hardy and nobody else could understand why he did what he did, and that he loves Edge like a brother, and that he respects Matt Hardy. So a lot of different vibes coming off of Randy Orton in this one. So he threatens Matt Hardy, but then backs off, leaves the ring, and then I really like the little detail he added here. When he got to the top of the ramp, he stopped, he touched his hoodie, and he took it off really, really slowly, to show that he's contemplating in his mind what he's about to do. So he comes back. Matt Hardy's waiting for him with a chair. Swings, misses. Randy guillotines him on the top rope, and then ensues on beating Matt Hardy up with the chair. Shots to his back, and then he eventually goes for the concerto, stops, rethinks it, leaves, comes back, and it's really like you see the struggle in his mind of what he's doing. So it looks like he has some type of remorse at some point, and then doesn't have remorse at the next point. So very good job at Randy here, going back and forth, and really good acting by him to show that he has a struggle in his mind, and he's maybe not too sure why he's doing it, but then he is. So it's like a split personality things that going on there, real bipolar type stuff. But then he eventually does the concerto on Matt Hardy, but on the steel steps on the outside. Then they stretcher him out. The referees came down and tried to break some of this up, but did a real terrible job in doing that. Like I said, Randy Orton did a real good job with his little details that he added in and the little facials that he did, and he was able to really convey that he's real split on it. So he still said, and he was saying, I'm sorry," after he did the second concerto on the steel steps to Matt Hardy. So there's a lot going on there, a lot to dissect, character-wise, but it was really well done by Randy. He's really good at playing that part. I mean, a lot of stuff he can do is very slow paced, methodical, and very slow moving, like a Viper. But he does a lot of that good stuff where it's character building, where he's, he is. I remember when he first started punting people in the head, and he would punt them and then feel like bad afterwards, or like, what have I done? So he's doing that similar thing right now. So it's working well, but I just want to see where it goes, and eventually when Edge is gonna come back, get his his revenge, and then lead into that Mania match. I was kind of hoping, though, that Jeff Hardy was going to show up and try to save Matt. I'm not sure, maybe Jeff will come after that. I'm not sure. But I was kind of hoping for that because it would have got a big pop. And Jeff hasn't been on for a while, so it would have been pretty cool to see him come to his brother's aid. The next match was Erick Rowan versus Alistair Black. Match was advertised beforehand. It was surprisingly good match. Both guys are good wrestlers. Erick Rowan's a pretty good big guy in the ring, and Alistair Black's obviously a really good wrestler in his own right. And he should be moving on to bigger and better things hopefully soon, going into Mania. But this was a surprisingly good match. It was very hard-hitting. I like the way they started off hot, started off fast, especially Alistair Black. As soon as the bell rang, came in with a knee strike, and he showed a lot of fire. But it was a back-and-forth match, a lot of hard-hitting moves, especially from Erick Rowan. Did some stuff on the outside. Alistair Black was able to hit a moonsault on the outside. But it was an overall good match. And the whole Erick Rowan thing with his cage and being covered, that little cage he carries with, it's already past. either reveal it now or don't, and just get rid of it and act like it was never there. At this point, nobody cares about it, and it's just there, and you didn't get any clues towards it, so it's kind of pointless right now. So they should just get rid of it or just reveal it, one of the two. Alistair Black got the win in this match. So hopefully, WrestleMania's coming up soon. Hopefully they start building something towards him. If not, he's a Andre the Giant Battle Royal guy. So we got to see what happens with Alistair Black. But he deserves better than just being in the Andre Memorial Battle Royal. Next, we had a promo from Charlotte. Obviously last night she came out after the Rhea Ripley-Bianca Belair match in NXT TakeOver Portland and attacked her and accepted the challenge for Mania, so that match is set. She came out, cut a promo talking about how she built NXT, her and her class that were there. She's talking about the 4 Horsewomen and how they built NXT to what it is now, its own standalone third brand. And she's saying that Rhea Ripley has like a sense of entitlement towards her, and that she's just basically piggybacking after everything that they created. And for her to come on Charlotte's show Raw and issue a challenge like that, she's going to show her some respect. And basically that was the gist of her promo. Pretty good promo from her. So, the match is set, and right now we're going to continue the build towards that match. So let's see. Most likely they will flip-flop showing up on each other's shows and doing attacks and stuff like that. But let's see if, Ripley has a match on Raw against another female superstar, or vice versa. Charlotte goes on with NXT and has a match with another female superstar, and they do interference and stuff like that. So we're just going to go right now to the build towards that Mania match. Right, next was kind of a throwaway segment. It was RTruth, Mojo Rawley, and Riddick Moss in a triple threat match for the 24/7 title in the ring with a referee and a normal triple threat match, which was kind of weird. But, I mean, it's a good change of pace, I guess, because everything else is in backstage and stuff like that. But I kind of would have hoped they would have done a match like this backstage or in another location and have a lot of fun with it. But it was a quick match, very fast. Riddick Moss retained the title, and then Mojo Rawley attacked RTruth at the end. RTruth reversed, and then RTruth was, victorious in that exchange, and that was pretty much it. So it's kind of a throwaway segment. Again, 24/7 title is like a comedy angle for the most part, and it's just kind of there as like a filler at this point. But like I said before in previous video, I think they'll probably have something fun planned for Mania and multiple matches for that title in Mania. Next, we had Drew McIntyre come to the ring to cut a short promo talking about Mania and how he's going to kick Brock Lesnar's ass. Then we had Paul Heyman come out and tease that Brock Lesnar was there, but he obviously wasn't. And they had a decent little back and forth. And then MVP came out, so the match was Drew McIntyre versus MVP. Obviously, MVP's mad at Drew McIntyre for getting Claymore kicked last week on Raw during the VIP lounge. MVP talks about it being a cheap shot from last week, so he says, "Referee, start the match. You'll see me coming, and it won't be a cheap shot." But he cheap shots him anyways with the mic, and quickly Drew McIntyre's able to regain his composure and squash MVP pretty quickly in this match. The Claymore countdown for the Claymore kick is a good little thing for him as a babyface because it gets the crowd involved. So, everybody loves crowd involvement, with the yes chants and stuff like that. So, Stone Cold said so, all those things like that. Those things are good to have for babyfaces because it gets the crowd involved and it gets them more invested in it. But right now, they're keeping him unstoppable and super strong going into Mania against Lesnar. Obviously, they have to, so that when Lesnar eventually does lose to McIntyre, it doesn't hurt Lesnar. He lost to like an unstoppable force. So it's going to be a real, irresistible force versus immovable object type of thing going on there at Mania. But it's going to be good. It's a good build-up, and let's see what else they do with them and if they have any more face-to-faces until, obviously they're going to have face-to-face the coming weeks before Mania, like within the last 2 weeks of Mania. But let's see if they do any type of things before that. I know Lesnar's not always there, but let's see what they do. Obviously, he's going to beat Ricochet at Super Showdown. See what they do in the meantime leading up to Mania for this feud. Next, we had a Becky Lynch promo, which was advertised. Becky Lynch came out with a brown paper bag and filled with money. She threw it on the floor, a few $100 bills mixing with some ones in there. I didn't think they meant to show that, but she talks about this money. She's putting it down now as kind of like as paying in advance for the fine she's going to get when she runs across Shayna Baszler. Very fiery promo as per usual from the man. So it was well done, and super awesome jacket that she had on with the former women's champions that she's beat on one arm. The little side plate logos on the arm running down. It was pretty cool look. Shayna Baszler came on the Titantron with her own promo. It was pretty decent. You could tell that it's not her strong suit, obviously, the on the mic. But she did drop the shit bomb. She said she was going to tear the living shit out of her. Something to that effect. Surprised to hear the word shit and not bleeped out on Monday Night Raw. It was towards the latter end of the 3 hours, so, I understand why they were able to get it in and not have to bleep it. But surprisingly, they went like that. This episode felt a little bit edgier, especially in another segment with Seth Rollins. It felt, a little bit more controversial and edgier. We're gonna get to that shortly, but overall, good promo from Becky Lynch. A lot of fire in there. But the Baszler promo was decent. So, it's just more build. She's in the Elimination Chamber match. Obviously, she's gonna win that, so that may hurt that match because the outcome is so obvious for the most part, unless they shock us with a big swerve. I doubt it, but for them to have that like that, it really fucking hurts the Elimination Chamber match as a whole and the other girls involved, because you pretty much know who's going to win that match. Next, we had a tag match of Rusev and Humberto Carrillo versus Bobby Lashley and Angel Garza. Both Angel Garza and Bobby Lashley have their own managers, Lana and Zelina Vega. So they're there. It's basically just mixing up two feuds. Basically, it was a good match. It started slow, but it started to pick up towards the end. And Angel Garza was able to roll up Rusev and hold the trunks to cheat to win that match. And it's sad to see Rusev how good he is as a performer and how entertaining he is and how much personality he actually has. To see his career been in WWE be so stop and go, and them not really have a vision for him. I always go back to, you saw him on a tank at WrestleMania, and then all of a sudden now he's where he is now. So they never really capitalized on all that stuff. I'm not sure what the reasons are, but it's sad to see because he seems like a genuinely good guy from what I've seen from him outside the ring. And he's so entertaining that you wouldn't even realize it by looking at him, but he's super entertaining. And they just should have done more with him. I don't know what his contract situation is. His wife, Lana, is signed. She re-signed, so I'm not sure if he's leaving or what's going to be the case with that, but we'll find out maybe after Mania. Normally, a lot of contracts end right after Mania. Bobby Lashley comes back after all those years gone when he was in TNA, and they just still I feel like they still don't know what to do with him or how to get him out there in the right way to get him as an actual title contender. Cause I thought they were going to do that and eventually do him versus Brock. I'm not sure what they were waiting for, but Bobby Lashley's kind of like muddling around there in the mid-card and not really much going on with him. But the tag match was what it was, decent little match, but it's just combining a bunch of two feuds together and seeing what sticks. Following this match, we had a singles match between Kairi Sane and Natalya with Asuka on the outside. Very quick match, kind of a throwaway match. They have a small feud going on right now, and it ended with count-out. Victory by Kairi Sane because Asuka kicked Natalya on the outside, knocked her down, knocked her out, and she wasn't able to get back in the ring. So it was a count-out victory for basically the Kabuki Warriors. Kind of a throwaway match, just quickly done there, just there as a filler because they need to fill time. 3-hour show is rough to get through. So they just got filler stuff like this in. Okay, next we had a Seth Rollins promo, the Monday Night Messiah, which they said about 12 times just tonight alone. But he has his picture of himself there in the ring with the stained glass look behind him, very religious look to it. And he basically said it was a sermon that he was conducting, and it was very church-like. So I like that they're actually pushing the envelope a little bit with that stuff, because it reminds me of Straight Edge Society with CM Punk, and he got a lot of heat for people thinking, he was trying to act like he was Jesus or something like that. So this is cool that they're doing that. I could do without so much of the Monday Night Messiah, like I said before, but his look is cool, the jacket's cool, a little glove, one glove is cool, and the fact that they're pushing the envelope with this stuff, making it a little bit more controversial, pretty cool how they did it. So he was going through that stuff about, it was a sermon, very church-like, and then the Viking Raiders come out and interfere. They start brawling with AOP, throw them out the ring, and then start fighting with Buddy Murphy, throw him out the ring. Rollins is at the top of the ramp, distraught at what's going on in the ring, and the fact that his sermon was ruined, and then Kevin Owens comes out, surprise, boom, stunner, and then that was the end of that. Later on, setting up a match between Kevin Owens, the Viking Raiders, versus Buddy Murphy and the AOP, which is the main event we'll get to later. Next, we had a pretty good segment. It was AJ Styles draped with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the OC. They're out there. AJ Styles makes his return to Raw after being out with that I believe it was a shoulder injury he received at Royal Rumble when he took that spear from Edge. So he's back. They're talking about him being the new Mr. WrestleMania, and that he's saying that he's the best wrestler on any wrestling show and then of all time. Now, to me, I still believe that he's the best wrestler on the planet right now, and he has been for the last 10 years. I followed AJ Styles for a long time. The guy he lives up to the word phenomenal. It's just an insane talent, top to bottom. An amazing in-ring performer, and he has been the best wrestler for the past 10 years, and he continues to be the best wrestler. So now they're saying that's him versus Taker at Mania. This is the rumor out there, and it seems to be that way because he rattled off a bunch of legends that he was better than. So I'm assuming they will do that match. Obviously, he can have a good match with anybody. Like I said, he's the best wrestler of the past 10 years, so it should be fun. But I want to get into Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. These guys are hilarious. I don't know if you've heard them beforehand on podcasts when they were on Talk is Jericho, Talking Shop. Hilarious guys. Really, really funny. And, they're so good when they're able to be themselves. Luke Gallows even called AJ Uncle Allen, which I thought was hilarious. If you guys heard that podcast before, you know what I'm talking about. So, real funny stuff from them. And then Ricochet comes out, interrupts, and Ricochet leaves a lot to be desired on the mic. He really does. It was a poor promo from him, very short, but it just wasn't good. He felt overpowered by the other three guys in the ring on the mic, and it's just something he needs to work on. He may never be a good promo guy, but maybe he could be passable, a little bit more assertive on the mic, a little bit more believable on the mic, I would say. But this led to Carl Anderson challenging him to a match. So it was a match between Ricochet and Carl Anderson. Ricochet gets the win. Carl Anderson's a super underrated wrestler. Guy's very, very talented in the ring. And I kind of wish him and Gallows would get their due a little bit more than they do right now. I don't know what the problem is, what the story is with that. But, Vince has never been a tag team guy, so I'm not sure what they're doing. These guys re-signed. They're, with AJ. I don't know what they're going to do, but these guys need to be on TV more. They need to turn into the badasses they were in Japan, and they need to be more of themselves on TV and be allowed to be more of themselves. They're super, super funny guys. The three of them together work so well. If they want to throw Balor in there, that'd be awesome. But, Carl Anderson's a super underrated guy. So is Luke Gallows. These guys deserve more. They deserve better. Okay, so we had the main event. Like I said before, it was KO and Viking Raiders versus AOP and Buddy Murphy. This has been, I think the third or fourth time we've seen, a combo of this match, 6-man, 8-man tags, stuff like that. So it's getting kind of repetitive a little bit. It was a good match. Fast-paced, these guys can all go, for the most part, AOP being the greener ones out of all of them. But to see them, Viking Raiders, and AOP go face-to-face and really, really collide was good to see. So, the match, it was a good match, fast-paced. Kevin Owens hits the pop-up powerbomb. Looks like he's going to get the win. Rollins comes, interferes, gets the DQ, and then they commence the beatdown. And they're talking about crucifying Kevin Owens, which I thought they were actually going to get a little further with, but they didn't, which would have been pretty interesting if they did. I do like when they push the envelope, like I said before. That shit's good stuff, It's something that they need to do because they need to stand out a little bit more and like I said, push that fucking envelope so they can go back to a time where they were doing wild stuff like that, and some of it was good, some of it was bad, but just try it and see how it works, see how the response you get. And you want to get Rollins enough heat where he's just hated. So they're going that direction, but I think hopefully they push the envelope a little bit more to really get the shit going. And so they're talking about crucifying him. They were gonna do it, and then the Street Profits come out, and they come in the ring. They clear the ring. All the baby faces come in. They start hitting their finishes, and the baby faces leave and finish the night celebrating in the ring with Seth Rollins on the top of the ramp again, distraught at what he's seeing and how his night was ruined. And again, Monday Night Messiah for the 15th time. But a decent night. A decent show overall. These 3-hour Raws are tough to get through. Like I said before, it's just a lot going on. I understand why they do them because the money they rake in for it, but just as a wrestling show, it's way too long. Not enough stuff to put there. That's not enough meaningful stuff, I should say, to put there, because a lot of stuff doesn't really mean much, and nothing feels like, not a lot of stuff feel like there's a lot at stake. They just need to, I think they need to, if they're gonna have a 3-hour show, they need to make everything count more and have a more of a sense of urgency to everything that they're doing, every storyline, every angle, and all the guys need to have more of a sense of urgency to everything. But that goes to the creative team. They need to implement that, a sense of urgency, make the stakes higher, make stuff mean more, especially on a 3-hour show, because you have so much time to fill. But like I said, it's just a long show, so hopefully they change it up a little bit, and Heyman does implement some of that. But we're getting closer and closer to WrestleMania. Upcoming next week, I believe, is Super Showdown. The week after that is Elimination Chamber. And then basically a month away until WrestleMania. Let's see how these feuds start fleshing out. And, you know, if there's any more matches they're going to add in, let's see what they are. But let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of this Raw and what do you think is going to happen going forward. If you think there's going to be any specific matches that may be announced later on for Mania from the Raw brand, and let me know what you guys think about the AJ and Taker match, the rumored match, if you think that's going to happen and what you guys think about that. But thanks again for watching the video. This was my Raw recap from February 17th, 2020, and I'll catch you guys later.